So how to prolong that state, how to prolong the samadhi, how to make it more stable, and how to move from that level of samadhi to another. But when you say that level to another level, do you mean how to remain in samadhi in meditation, or how to remain in the samadhi in the midst of your activity? Because these are two different things.
Actually, what I mean, when person is enlightened, he can clear. His mind is absolutely clear.
Mm-hmm.
He see the things. He can a lot of things to do with that. You know, he come to completely different level. And this is what I mean, to just stay in this level of enlightened person and keep it this nirvikalpa samadhi. Can or cannot?
Okay. Yes. Technically speaking, some traditions do call that spontaneous state of samadhi, of an enlightened being, let's say when the being is fully established, nirvikalpa. However, there is another term of which we have spoken on several occasions. It is known as a spontaneous abiding, or Sahaja Samadhi, or Sahaja Samadhi. The difference between nirvikalpa or savikalpa and Sahaja Samadhi is that in that spontaneous, Sahaj means literally spontaneous one, involuntary. Nothing is needed to be in that state. Mm-hmm. It happens on its own. You cannot practice it. You cannot do, so to speak, a set of routines or practices to abide in that state. That would contradict the very term of that particular type of samadhi. That samadhi is the result, spontaneous result of nervous system being established on such a level where there is no distinction between the silent aspect of light and its dynamic aspect. It's a complete fusion, because when we sit in meditation, we're trying to reach that state, which is the deepest state of being, where we are that stillness itself, stillness, silence. Then we come out and we act. We come out in the field, in the sphere of activity. We alternate between the silent aspect and the aspect which is known as diversity. So silence and diversity, they are not two different realities. Silence and diversity, they are just two different sides of the same coin, if you will. Or better example, it is that which makes unity a truly unity. Unity of what? Because when we say unity, it is literally unity of that immutable silence, of that immutable stillness, with this diverse aspect of creation. So the unity of silence and dynamism is that what really, really constitutes the state of enlightenment. When one abides in that, regardless of whether one is in a silent sphere or one is in the sphere of activity. It's like which side of the road you walk. Like my teacher used to say, it's the same path, the same road, but it's just which side you choose to walk. Silent side or dynamic side. And sometimes you cross it throughout the day. At some point you're in a complete silence, at other points you are in a dynamic side of the walk. But the main point here is that the Sahaja Samadhi, the spontaneous absorption, is that state where the distinction between what is silent and what is dynamic ceases to exist. So this has to be understood properly.
It's very difficult to understand. It sounds like abstraction completely.
It sounds abstraction until it becomes one's lived reality. This is why I said.
How to come?
Okay, well, I would say keep doing your practice. Keep remaining in samadhi and coming up to activity. Keep doing that, going inward and coming back. In time, naturally,
in time.
It becomes your own state. It is your own state right now, as we speak. It is the very ground of being. Let's not confuse matters here. You are forever in that state. You know, because Sahaja Samadhi and the state of being is one. There's no difference. However, before that becomes lived reality, the nervous system is not able to function at its fullness or at its fullest while it is in active phase, let's say. When we are in action, we're losing that ground of being because the activity overshadows it. As it overshadows it, as it overshadows that ground of being, that gives us the experience as if we are no longer in that. So we dive back into meditation. We go back into that meditative state. We go back into that, and then we come back again. So we go in and out, we go in and out, and go in and out. And one day, what we notice is that when we go in and when we come out, we notice that with each time we have less and less difference. And in the midst of life, we suddenly catch ourselves, and it's a very subtle experience, when activity itself ceases to overshadow that state which is known as our own state of being. And that is the first glimpses of Sahaja. And that is the first glimpses of that spontaneous abiding, the spontaneous samadhi. And it will naturally grow. But you cannot force it in any way. You cannot, you cannot make it by, you can spend 100 hours in meditation in one go, but you cannot force that stage of samadhi. It comes on its own. It would not be otherwise called spontaneous, isn't it?
So the question is like this, of course, all this exercise with to go further and further, of course, that I must have a very healthy brain, very healthy nervous system to do this. And what has happened, maybe I have it this, maybe I don't have it this, but I need, for my job, for my creation, I need to go to high level. And I'm really, with all kind of technique, I go to this high level, I take its source, and I go back again, and I'm grounded again, I'm talk normal grounded person, centralized and normal grounded person. Is it this stage, or it's like I'm supposed to, because
no,
in reality,
it's
when
not.
I go
Sure, I understand.
to energy source, when I go to this energy source, then I can, when I look at this opera, when I listen music, when I eat, my senses so high that I'm almost get it crazy, And then I must to step out, because of course I have a family, children, and husband, and God knows, I must to be present in real life.
Sure. Well, this is what I said, that when there's no difference between that what you experience as silent, when there's no difference between stillness and being in the midst of all this, children and family life and all this what you call craziness and what some call, just fullness of life's expression. When there's no difference, when it becomes equal, then you know it. You know it. There is no question that arises that am I in it or not. It simply doesn't even come. There's no possibility for it even to surface, because it has no ground to surface. Up until it surfaces, it means there is still some integration going on.
Yeah, of course,
It's like that.
Yeah. And whom I'm going to be if I don't see this difference already?
You will be who you are. Nothing will change about you. On the outside, you'll remain just that, Olga, as I met you. You will be the same person, but the same, and yet you will be not the same. You will be the same as what is known on the outside, but your personal experience will be vastly different from that. So, there's no need to there is no speculate. If you will change the attitude. Yesterday when I spoke to someone, and there was this necessity to give an example. What is the difference? Because I said, do not try to grasp it. Do not try to grasp it. So it became appropriate to me, this example. Trying to grasp something, trying to grasp truth, is like trying to grasp water, or let's say liquid silver, with your bare hands. It will only liquidize, disintegrate into more smaller little balls of silver, you know, like liquid mercury. However, if you have that cup hand, if you have this attitude of a cup hand, then all this liquid mercury will just gather in the middle as a ball. So do not try to like, I want to get it, I want to get it. It's good to have the desire for higher states of consciousness. But maybe not so much I want to get it, but more just open, like, you know, like as you open palms of your hands, just be open towards it. And spontaneously go through your daily activities. It will come on its own. And when it comes, there are no questions about it, because questions themselves are dissolved in that state.